we were in the school band at the same time, and she played the saxophone and I played the trumpet. And as it happened, one day we were sitting in rehearsal, and I looked across where she was sitting in the saxophone section, and I looked closely at her, and she winked at me. And I thought, wow, what's going on here? So after the rehearsal was over, I went up to her and I said, just wondered if you were having trouble with your eyes or something. Did you actually wink at me? She said, oh, yes. She said, we have a mutual friend. And the friend was telling me that you wanted to date me, but you were a little shy about asking me. And I thought if anything was going to come of this, then I might as well get it started. So as they say, the rest is history. We married, we went through college together and married in 1960. And I began my ministry actually in my junior year of college. So I've been in the ministry since 1958. And after I graduated, we graduated and we were married. We came to Atlanta, and my brother and his wife and myself and Clarice, we founded a church. And it was an interesting little church in Atlanta. And we were actually, at that time, we were an all-white church in 1960. And those of you who are old enough to remember will know that 1960, there was some turbulent times in the civil rights struggle at that time. As a matter of fact, here in the Atlanta area, many churches put their ushers at the door and refused to allow any African-American families to come in. And my brother and I, we sat down and said, now, how are we going to address this? Are we going to do the same thing they did? And we knew that was not the right answer. So he said, no, we need to become involved in the civil rights struggle. And so we were actually the closest church to Ebenezer Baptist Church. We were just across the railroad tracks. And so we went over one day to Ebenezer Baptist Church, and we found who was affectionately called Daddy King, who was Martin Luther King's daddy. And he pastored at Ebenezer at that time. Martin Luther himself spent a lot of time on the road, going literally around the world, but his dad was there. And we told him, said, sir, we really would like to become involved with the civil rights movement. He said, good. He said, I tell you what to do. He said, you be here Saturday morning. Said, we have a breakfast in the basement here at the church for what we call concerned clergy. And that's where you can plug in and be a part of what's going on. So we came. The next Saturday, we came to breakfast, and we were the only white guys there, with the exception of Father Austin Ford from, he was an Episcopal priest, and just the three of us. And I never will forget, we sat at the table right across the table from Daddy King. And he looked at us, and he had a deep voice, and he looked over his glasses at us. And we were young. I was just 22 years old. My brother was 33 years old. And he looked across at the table at us, and he said in his deep voice, boys, are you ready to go to jail with me? Well, you can imagine what that did to me. It scared me to death because at that time, I don't even remember ever even having a traffic ticket. But at that time, then we became involved in their demonstrations, their marches, their boycotts, and whatever was going on. And I don't know if you want me to go ahead about our integrating our church.
Yes.
But so we went to our church, and at that time we had a student who was Japanese, and he attended Atlanta University, which was a multiracial university at that time. And so he came to us, he said, I have some friends who are from Africa, and said they would like to attend our church. Would they be welcome? And we said, by all means, bring them. So the next Sunday, a group of students from Atlanta University showed up, who were, all of them were young Black men and women. And when they came in, and we had them to seat them right down front in the church, and when they sat down, about half of our church stood up, marched out of the church.
And something else
and
happened.
left.
When we were in a community, it was an all-white community, as he said, very close though, right across the track from Ebenezer Baptist. And the people there were very racist, but they were also disenfranchised, and they drank a lot, had a lot of problems, and we had helped them. We had fed them, we'd clothed them. At night, if they got in a fight and needed to go to Grady Hospital to have stitches or whatever done, we'd take them. And we had taught music to their children free of charge. We'd taken them, had a summer camp for them. So they were outside with actual stones and sticks to throw at the Black members when they came out, the students. And my husband went out and told them what you did.
Well, I went out and I just reminded them, I says, you know, I have visited your kids when they were in juvenile, when some of them had gone to jail. I've taken you to the hospital when you needed medical assistance. And we've been here, we have fed you, we have provided clothes, we provided food. And now you repay us by doing this. And I said, I want you now, you drop your stones and your sticks.
Go home.
And you go home. And they did. And from that day on, our church was an integrated church.
And then we were sued for $1 million with Daddy King.
Yeah, we one day an officer showed up at the door with an official document saying that we were being sued for $1 million because we were boycotting one of the food markets in town. Now, this particular food market, we found out, was in a community where it was predominantly a Black community. And we discovered that they were selling food for higher prices than you could buy foods in the other parts of Atlanta, much upscale financial areas. And so we went to boycotted the place, and had an effect. So they called us in with the leadership and the people who owned the market. And we were there with Daddy King and several of the concerned clergy. And I never will forget, they talked about what they were going to do, and they were going to sue us and so forth and so on. And finally, Daddy King, he looked across the table at them and he said, now, man, let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to clean your act up. You're going to start selling decent vegetables. You're going to bring the prices competitive with other areas of Atlanta. You're going to do that, or we're going to shut you down. And they sat there a minute, looked stunned, and finally they said, you're right, Dr. King, you're right. And so the lawsuit was dropped, and from that day on, we became an integrated church. And at one time, and maybe we'll talk about it later, at one time our church, it grew. When other churches were not growing as much, I think it's because we opened our doors to whosoever will. You come, you are welcome in our church. And we began to grow. And at one time, we were one of the largest 10 churches in America. We were probably one of the, if not the first, mega church. And we were a church of all people, all races. And it's been an interesting, very interesting journey for these 63 years. When I think, Clarice, are you ready to play cello? Okay, I think she's going to begin by playing a song that years ago, about 30 years ago, a friend of ours, Richard Smallwood, came to our church for the first time. And my brother, thinking it would be an interesting thing to happen, he said, I want you two people to sit down at the piano there and play a duet. They had just met. They had never played together. He had never heard her play. She had never heard him play, except on records. And so they sat down and began to play the Lord's Prayer. And when it was put on the internet, and it went viral. And since that time, over the 30-year period, there have been literally millions of people who have watched that little video of them playing the Lord's Prayer. So today, Clarice is going to be playing for you again the Lord's Prayer. Okay, well, let me just take a minute or two and talk a little bit about our 63 years together.
Okay, that's right. It's your anniversary, so you have the
Especially,
right
I
to do
wanted to
that.
talk a little bit about Clarice. You heard in the introduction of the things she's been involved in, but maybe I could just fill you in a little more about how that came about. When Clarice was 3 years old, her granddaddy had a piano, and Clarice went into the piano, crawled up on the piano stool, and you know how kids are when they get around a piano, they just cram and just with no rhyme or reason. But she began to play chords at 3 years old. She began to play chords, and her parents came in, and her family, they heard what was happening, and they realized that she had some sort of a special gift, and it needed to be brought out. So she began playing the piano when she was 3 years old, but her mother especially knew that she needed to learn what she was doing technically. It was not enough just to be able to sit down and play by what they call by ear. She needed to know what she was playing. So they began giving her piano lessons, and she took piano lessons all through high school. Then she went to college, and as I said earlier, she received the highest award in her musical in the School of Music. She attended the conservatory, the Chadic Conservatory, at the University of Chattanooga. But when she was very young, a child, even before her feet would touch the pedals, she was playing in church. Well, now she has the ability to sit down, and we put her music on YouTube a lot and on Facebook a lot, and she sits down at the piano, and it's not unusual for her to say, "Well, what do you want me to play?" And I will mention something and she'll sit down and she'll just start playing spontaneously and just go from one song to another spontaneously. It's never something that she reads from takes from the music. Occasionally she'll play from a score, but that's usually when she is either accompanying something or playing with an orchestra or something when she needs that. But otherwise, she just plays what comes from her heart and from her mind. So she's a very talented. I would say that I've heard many, many pianists across the years, but what she does, I've never seen another person who's been able to do it.
Mercy.
So we've lived together for 63 years, and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you. My greatest admirer, I suppose, in the world. I would like to say something about where we are. This is our beautiful Spirit and Truth Sanctuary. And our son is a senior pastor, he and his wife, Brandy. And also our daughter was just ordained recently. For 25 years, she was pastor, but would not let us call her that. She worked with our children's ministry and our art school and so many different things in the arts department. She was an actress, a singer, a teacher, especially in literature and English. But she finally gave in. And so we have Pastor LaDonna and Pastor DE, Pastor Brandy. It is a family thing, and we're proud of that. And I'm very grateful for that. And maybe you'd like to tell how DE had his own church called Grace Church.
Our
how he
son-
came back to the cathedral.
Our son, who's now 51 years old, is the senior pastor here. And my brother and he passed away in 2009, and I retired. And so I called my son, I said, at that time we were at the cathedral, and I said, I want to retire. I said, are you open and ready to come be the pastor here? And he said, I'll be there Sunday. So he has been the senior pastor since
He brought his whole
he brought his
congregation
whole
with him.
congregation. So and he recently graduated from Decatur School of Theology at Emory University with his master's degree. And he is quite an author, quite a speaker, and a very special young man.
He was inducted into the Morehouse College of
Right.
Ministers and Laity, and just keeps winning wonderful awards.
Well, he has followed through in the footsteps that we made across the years about including everybody. And his main message is about inclusion. There are so many churches today that they talk about all are welcome, but they're not. You go to their church and you'll find out that not everyone is welcome. But he preaches the message of inclusion, that we include everybody, all races, all philosophies. And, he says, how can we look at someone who's been raised as a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Muslim or some other religion and say, my religion is the only one? No, he says we include everybody. Everyone is on a journey to find God in their own way. So that's his message, and it's a very special message.
And we're so happy to Cheryl Handy. So
Okay, I think next we're going to have a song.
we are, and I'm going to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, talk about Benny, brag on him a little bit.
Okay, I'd say a young man. He's still a young man to me, but he's worked with us over 30 years. How many years, Benny?
Been here 44 years.
44 years.
My word. And we've worked together almost every day of those years, and he does everything. I'm telling you, he says he's done everything but fix my hair.
Ooh, man.
But he said that's coming.
No, I did that once.
Oh, he did it one time. Okay. He has beautiful tenor voice and does a lot of solos here at the church. And right now, this song is so appropriate for Caritas because you are people who love people, who like to help people, who like to encourage people, and just you're just full of love. And that's what he's going to sing about. You raised me up.
When I am down and oh my so weary. When troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence till you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. With you, my world is so much brighter. Let me speak and listen patiently. You hear my dream and tell me it's permitted. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank you,
beautiful.
Annie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Let me
you.
say a couple of things about Benny. Every church has different kinds of people. Some people, they just show up. Some people come on Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving. And that's about it. You've got others who are there every time the doors are open. You've got different levels of participation. But you've got those people that really are the cogs in the machine that make it work. And Benny is one of those people here, like he has a beautiful singing voice and a great musician. But in addition to that, every time my computer breaks down, I get on the phone and I call and say, Benny,
Morning, noon, and night.
we can't make our computer work. What do we do? And so he helps us. And there's so many things. He's one of those people that you ask him to do something, and he says, sure, I can do it. I think if I were to call Benny, say, Benny, I need to perform a brain surgery. Can you help me? He'd say,
Please
sure,
don't.
sure. Just get some highlights in here. Let's do it. So thank you, Benny, for 44 years of being such a big help. to
Merry
us.
Christmas.
Well, I think we want to talk a little bit about the move out to Decatur.
Yes, we were downtown Atlanta for 12 years, and at that time LaDonna was born, and Dee was born right before we moved. He was 19 days old when we came to South DeKalb. But you built the first church.
Well, we first built a little church, a little stone church out on Flat Shoals Road. It was just a 2-lane blacktop country highway. It had farms and animals. And since that time, it now is a 4-lane road with a divider in it and a major thoroughfare, and it's now Flat Shoals Parkway. But we built a cathedral there. The first thing we did after we built the little stone church, we began to grow. And after a few years, we filled it up and didn't have enough room for people to sit. So we knocked the back walls out and doubled the size of the church. And we filled that up. We had 3 services every Sunday.
People were sitting in the
And people
halls,
were sitting
people
in the
standing
hall, so-
outside trying to get in.
Yeah, so then we built, the first thing we did is we put a big tent on the parking lot that seated 2,000 people. We were there for almost 2 years. And I can tell you, in a tent for a couple of years, we experienced the temperatures would be well over 100 degrees in the summer. And in the winter, we had probably one of the worst winters we've ever had. And it was like, I remember one Sunday, it was like 3 degrees, and all the other churches, even that had buildings, were not having service. But we had service, and people had their gloves on, and when they would clap their hands, it was a muffled sound of the gloves.
And Delta
And
Airlines gave us
Delta
blankets.
Airlines gave us some blankets. We'd get up about every 10 minutes and run in place to keep the circulation going.
Summer we had
But then,
fans.
and then we moved into what we call the K Center, and I said it was like an airplane hangar, just a huge building. It was a temporary worship place until we could complete the cathedral. So we went in the cathedral, what year, Clarice?
1985. The Cathedral 1991. The K Center was 1985. But
Yeah.
I must say, during this time that he's been talking about, we began our education plan
Yeah, we
for
had
the community.
school, elementary level.
Preschool through
preschool.
junior college.
And you know, a lot of churches have schools, and I can tell you now that ours, we scholarship most of the kids who came, and it was an outreach ministry that was well worth it. And since that time, I heard of and talked to a number of students who went through our school who are now responsible citizens. They're in ministry, they're in medicine, they're in education. And so it was a very worthwhile thing. At the same time, if you remember, we were one of only 2 churches in Georgia who had a licensed adoption agency.
And you were head of that. He was
And-
also the chancellor of all the schools.
But it was a rewarding thing to help place babies. We had what we call the House of New Life, where young women who found themselves pregnant, and many of them were not married, and they would come and would literally live in the House of New Life during their pregnancy and after they were delivered of their baby. If they wanted to keep their baby, we encouraged them to do that. If not, we helped them place them in adoption in homes that we investigated and knew that they were good homes to place babies in.
And this unbelievable growth began really in 1978 when we went on television. We were on Locally first, then PTL, then TBN. And also we had a young people's ministry called Alpha, where thousands of teenagers came.
Yeah.
In the summer, there were 5,000 here for one outdoor retreat that we had. And every Monday night they had Alpha, and all the different high schools in Atlanta would come, and they kind of were in competition. They would stand up how many from certain school. And now today, a lot of those young people are in ministry, but let me talk about the Performing Arts School. And Benny knows all about this. He helped me direct it for so many years. We had a music conservatory, a drama conservatory, a dance conservatory. And a lot of those young people, some are now in professional ballet companies. One young man directs an orchestra. We've got one young lady who actually played Dolly Parton on Broadway. And others are ministers of music in other countries, De La Torres in Puerto Rico. And it's just been amazing to sit back and watch what the Lord did with that art school and the people and where they went. I'm just very grateful.
One of the young ladies, I think, is on the staff, the faculty at Yale.
Not now, but she was,
Yeah,
yes.
Yale University.
Right.
So anyway, well, what we do next? Mary?
Let me look at my little, I'm gonna play some Christmas music for you.
Well, it's Christmas time, and you know, it's interesting that some of the prettiest music to me is Christmas music. I love Christmas music. As a matter of fact, Clarice and I, sometimes in June, July, we'll be riding along in the car, and I'll say, or she'll say, I'd like to hear some Christmas music. So we keep a CD or something with Christmas music, and we listen to it. So we listen to Christmas music year round. So it's a shame that sometimes people don't hear Christmas music except the few weeks around the actual Christmas day. But we like Christmas music and we share it. So I think Clarice is going to be playing a medley of some Christmas music. So let me say to you, Merry Christmas. Wow.
Right.
And I do hope that you're enjoying the Christmas season, and it's a time, hopefully we don't get so bogged down with the commercial part of it, that we don't take the time to spend with our family, with our friends. It's a special time of the year, and as they say, remember the reason for Christmas, but there's a lot to that. Sometimes we don't remember what Christmas season is really all about. It's a time when we should enjoy not only our family, but our friends and those that we're close to. I'm afraid that we have allowed the commercial part to overpower us sometimes, and we get caught up in buying things and shopping and those kinds of things, when it's important for us just to take the time to spend with our family. Now, we've talked about our church. I thought maybe I might talk just a minute, explain a little bit about the cathedral itself. The final place that we worship that area is what we call the Cathedral of the Holy Spirit. It was a building that seated almost 7,000 people.
The
and,
choir loft seated 365 people.
Yeah, the choir was over 300 people.
And we
but-
had a youth choir, 150 people.
But it was we used it not only for our purposes, but the community used it as well.
Right.
Spelman had their graduations there.
Nurses
Morehouse,
graduation,
The nurses graduated there. They had
big
inaugurations.
funerals,
They had big funerals for public officials. They had
MLK birthday
the
celebrations.
MLK Day celebration, and a lot of notable people came to share with us on MLK Day. But it was a beautiful facility. But after my brother passed away in 2009, my son took over. He said, "Dad," he said, this place is it's too big. You know, the utilities on it ran like at $60,000 a month. That was just too much.
Too many buildings.
So we found a little church. It's not a little church. It seats 600-700 people. A beautiful church we're sitting in now that he bought or the church bought, and we're worshiping in now. And we changed the name to Spirit and Truth Sanctuary. So that's where we are now in Decatur, Georgia, at Spirit and Truth Sanctuary.
On Midway.
And on Midway Road is in Decatur. And it's a lovely little church, but the important thing is that it's a church for the community, for everyone. Everyone is welcome here. So, what do you want to talk about now, Larry?
Well, through the years, I have changed lyrics to many, many songs. If our theology changed, the lyrics changed. Or I even took something like a jingle like Coca-Cola and then changed all the lyrics to make it something for our youth to sing. But one of those is from Les Miserables. What's the song, Biddy?
You bring me home.
You bring me
Bring him home. Bring him home. Sorry.
Bring him home. And it is now a prayer, and Benny sings my lyrics beautifully. We're going to do that for you.
God of love, God of power, God of grace, light of life in this hour, God of hope, God of peace, be my something free. Touch what you see. I'm not a wretch with courage whole. I'm not a wretch as I've been told, but fearful I am made so wondrously, not afraid. Divinity resides in me. Take my mind and renew. Give me thoughts ever holy and true, made like you. Let me see God divine within me. God has me. I am Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. For your knees, oh, angel, sent, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, divine. Oh, Holy taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise his holy name. On your knees, oh, the angel voices, when Christ was born.
You know, she's playing her heart out and we can't hear it, but you know, I'm just imagining it. It's like,
I know, just
all is well, guys. Thank you all. Thank you all for radiating that love.
I don't even think you should tell her. We'll just say it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure it is.
yeah. Because can you imagine that? You know, their age for them to get up early and do this for us is.
It's a
I'm just
lovely
deeply
dress.
grateful. Yes, dressed all coordinated. Yeah.
It'd be heartbreaking.
Remember that the frequencies that we don't hear still travel through our
Travel
heart.
through our hearts.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's right.
Can they hear us?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
That was a love shower, wasn't it? Just even if you can't.
Thanks, Dr. Claire. It's good to see your smiling, beautiful faces.
Oh,
Yeah. You know, sometimes it can be just one button or something not clicked or something.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because they live stream every Sunday, but they don't have the people that set up for the live stream are not there. So
Yeah.
when you're trying to do it independently, sometimes it
Yeah.
yeah. So I just appreciate their presence and the
Me too.
sharing of their love and
Right.
how, they're right. That's what Caritas is all about, a unitary consciousness. And this
And
is
their
something that they
story.
did, the integration of oneness and inclusion of all
And story.
of humankind. And that's the message that we're radiating out there.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't know if we're still on, but if we are, I just want to express appreciation to you, Cheryl, and for allowing us to spend this time with you. And if you want to see more of Clarice's playing, she's on Facebook on my page. Just go to Don Paulk on Facebook, and you can find her music there. Not only Christmas music, sacred music, but secular music as well. So let me say on behalf of Clarice and Benny and all of us here, to you, Cheryl, and to your friends who share with you, we hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Wonderful, beautiful, beautiful.
Merry Christmas and Happy
Merry
New
Beautiful,
Year.
thank
Christmas and
you.
happy
Merry
anniversary. Thank
Christmas.
you for a wonderful performance, Pastor Clarice. Thank you, Pastor
Yeah.
Don, and thank you, Benny. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your talents and your love.
What was so beautiful about the both of you is what wonderful individuals you are. I so enjoyed your stories. It was just inspiring. You have just lived your whole lives with the Spirit. And I thank you for coming today.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays,
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, Happy
Thank you,
Hanukkah.
Angela, for coming. Thank you, Amanda, and all of my friends out there. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Noreen can close us out with a song.
All right. I thank you.
Thank you so
Carol.
much.
I'll go ahead and end.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Happy
holidays,
holidays.
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.